temperature.
I know people buy a sauna and in the middle of the summer. Why buy a sauna? Just go outside.
Just outside, you'll sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy the hot. I got a convertible Mustang a long time ago, and I just couldn't wait till it was 88 degrees. I could put the top down and just drive.
Yeah.
One time I was driving along the coast, and a cop pulled me over, and I said, "Man, you're profiling me." He goes, "How fast are you going?" I said, 85. He goes, "Yep, that's why."
I'm actually in South Dakota. I'll show you guys this. It's 36 degrees today
Ooh.
Wow. Ooh,
and
30.
raining.
Oh,
Can't
oh,
even say.
ow. 36 in rain. That's terrible.
Yes, yes, it is. And it's reminding me, often my husband cold plunges, and I'm thinking, why? We live in South Dakota, just go outside for a little bit, right? But that's making me also want to ask this. I am seeing a lot of information coming out about maybe cold plunging isn't as good for us as we think. Are you guys seeing this research?
I haven't seen it.
So I've
Um,
heard it's if your heart has to be at a certain level in order for it to be good. Like if you
hmm.
have heart problems, you should not be doing it regularly. What have you heard? That why isn't it good?
Yeah, I think if your body is already in a stressed state, then it isn't good for you necessarily. If you're healthy and maybe some issues with cortisol, I think possibly. So if you're someone who struggles with that, that can affect it. I think everyone is just different. Everyone is just different. If you gave me like 115-degree something that I had to get into, I could do that, no problem. Cold plunge, can't do it. Can't do it. I don't know. I like heat, but I think it's really interesting. It's kind of fun just to see how different people respond to things, and I think it's good to see how it works for you.
I think that's a good point that it's different for everyone because I know my daughter in Rexburg, Idaho, in the wintertime, she would go to the stream, break the ice, and get in the water.
Yeah.
And so we're talking like this is like 32-degree water. And she did that when she was stressed, and she said it really helped her to relax and let go. Because if you look at the Wim Hof method, what Wim Hof is teaching is not to just be in the water and hate it. It's
Yeah.
to be in the water and relax while you're there and take deep breaths and breathe in and let it be and let it be and it's okay. That's the idea, is that it's
Yeah.
okay. Whereas if somebody's getting stressed out in the water and going, I hate this, okay, I can't wait to get out, that's a totally different experience,
Yes.
right?
Just like everything, there are wrong ways to do things and there are right ways to do things. And it's possible that they did all the studies on the people who weren't doing it the right way. So, I mean, honestly, that would make sense. So, anyway, we're excited that you guys are here today. Quick disclaimer, Dr. Saunders is a medical doctor, but he is not your doctor. So, when we talk about things today, please discuss them with your healthcare provider before you implement them. All right. Today, we're going to be talking about eating for a healthy heart. This is episode number 285. Just crazy. But I love it. We have learned so much on these webinars. So many of you have hopped on and asked your questions and really, really helped to inspire a lot of people to take control over their health. And so today, as we continue on this show, I would just ask that you post your questions in the Q&A, okay? We can manage those a lot better there. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, post them in the comments. We'll do our best to get to those as soon as we can. But also let us know in the chat where you are from. So there's a chat and there's Q&A. Q&A for questions. Chat with each other. Make sense? Okay. So in the chat, you can let us know your temp. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to look at some of these. Oh, yeah, we got some people that came in and said 38 degrees in Michigan and rain. Yep, you share my weather, Elliot. Fun times. There was some snow earlier, too. I did see it coming down. Very large snowflakes. It was actually kind
Oh,
of,
I love that.
yeah, it was very pretty.
Yeah.
They didn't
80
last.
83 in San Antonio.
Wow. I had a couple ducks in my backyard earlier today, so the weather's very strange. I don't know. I think they're confused. Okay.
Have you seen pictures of all the pollen that's in the South, like in Georgia? So if you look, the South is covered with pollen, like trees that are falling. It's
mm,
like a sandstorm with all of
wow.
pollen. I've seen cities look like there's just a yellow haze because of all the pollen this time of year. It's
Wow.
allergies. Yeah.
Yikes. That's not
Hope
fun.
those people don't have allergies.
I know.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Okay. Let's see here. Anything else? See a question in here. 285.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. But
That's his
Maybe.
weight.
Mhm,
Where's his blood sugar?
mhm.
I don't know. Let us know. Raining in Chicago, 90 in Tampa, 76 Inca.
What's
Uh,
it like in London, David?
It's probably raining. It's springtime in London.
yep.
Pollen?
68 in the Netherlands.
Yeah. Donna says we have pollen in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, wow. 71 in South Carolina. All right. Well, all right, Elliot. I think we won for coldest temp.
285 was your episode number.
Oh,
We all missed that.
it's not your weight.
Oh, well,
Right.
I don't, you never know. Maybe you lost some weight. Oh, that is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, well, we're real people, you guys.
Yeah,
Oh, Rochester, New York. Not raining yet. 38.
oak pollen in San Antonio is covering yellow film all over the cars.
Wow. -4 Celsius in
Alberta,
yes. Snow.
Calgary. Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's get started with this party and this teaching. We're going to talk about eating for a healthy heart. Lots of questions about this. So many of you, well, let's just start with this. Dr. Saunders, if someone came to your office, they were worried about their heart, maybe they don't have any problems currently, but they're thinking longevity. What can I be doing in order to best support my heart at this stage of their life? Say they're at retirement age.
Retirement age. Okay, so somewhere in their 60s, and or 70s now these
Yeah.
days, retiring. So what do you do? What do you do for your diet? Because like every week there are, I don't know, some 100 new diet books come out, right? There's just like diet after diet after diet, and tons of them. And for heaven's sakes, we wrote one. That's a lot of the reason we're here, right? Is we have a diet book about your heart, how to have a healthy heart, and we include the diet in there. And so if someone were to come to me, a little advanced years and say, okay, how do I maintain a healthy heart? There's really only a few things that matter. And a lot of the things that we think that matter don't matter. So for example, for years, we were told that saturated fat was really bad for your diet, bad for your heart, that you should not eat saturated fat because it caused cholesterol issues. It turns out that is completely wrong, that's not an issue at all. You can eat all the saturated fat you want. Here's why. The problem with the LDL cholesterol is not having LDL. That's where a lot of the mistake was made, was the level of LDL. Is that related to heart disease? And it's like, no, but what the heck? The LDL's found there. What do they find? They find oxidized LDL. So then they go, oh, then we got to worry about oxidized LDL. Well, guess what? How do you get LDL? Well, LDL is a protein that's packaging lipids in and bringing them somewhere. That's what it's doing. There are certain lipids that are packaged, and that's fats. Lipid is oil, is fat. That's all the same stuff, right? So if you eat saturated fat, that saturated fat gets packaged into an LDL particle, and it gets taken into wherever it needs to go. And if you have those packed with saturated fat, guess what? Here's something that's going to surprise everyone. Okay, are y'all listening? This is really important. Saturated fat does not oxidize. It can't oxidize. It is already saturated. That's the point about saturated fat. It's already saturated. So you can eat all the saturated fat you want. In fact, your body makes saturated fat. When you make fat out of sugar, What are you making it into? Saturated fat. You're also making some omega-9, um, uh, uh, let's see, monounsaturated fatty acid. So one monounsaturated, and that doesn't oxidize well either. So here you have the polyunsaturated fatty acids, omega-3 and omega-6. Those are the ones that oxidize. Well, omega-3 is made into antioxidants. Omega-6 is made into oxidized LDLs. It oxidizes. So here's what happened. In 1920, heart disease was kind of rare. And then they started adding corn oil into people's diets. And corn oil is very high in polyunsaturated fatty acids, omega-6 oil. And that omega-6 oil can oxidize. So it gets packaged and then it gets oxidized, and then it causes damage and causes inflammation and starts this process of atherosclerosis. It doesn't happen with saturated fat. So before the 1920s, what were they eating? Lard. Lard was the cheapest kind of fat. And like everybody boiled everything in lard. It was like the lard was the thing. When you were making biscuits, you made them with lard. When you made soup, you made it with lard. If you fried anything and you made fried chicken, it was fried in lard. Like everything was done in lard. But who uses lard now? I don't know. I was looking for lard the other day, a week ago. And I'm going all over the store. Like, where the heck is the lard? So I finally asked somebody. You know me, I'm a guy, right? I don't ask for help. So I went and I decided to finally ask for help. And the guy says, "Oh, it's over in the ethnic food section." So there's this little like in the ethnic food. They have this Mexican foods where they have all the salsas and the refried beans and all that stuff. And then right down below, there's this one little pack in this box, lard. that was it. Like nobody uses it anymore. There were only like 2 boxes there. I guess unless you're Mexican or something, because you're gonna like make your tortillas with lard or something. So since that time, everybody uses corn oil, soy oil. Well, those are oxidized fats. They oxidize a lot. They're not safe to use. They go rancid. And those rancid fats create trans fats. And so all of the damage that's done for your heart is done by omega-6 oils. So then what do you eat? You can't have omega-6 oils. Well, you're going to avoid corn oil. You're going to avoid soy oil, cottonseed oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, sesame oil. Those are all oils that are commonly used to fry all of this stuff. They don't use lard anymore. They use those oils, those vegetable oils, and they're really high in omega-6. Or if they partially hydrogenate them, then they're full of trans fats. Either way, it's going to cause heart disease, right? So you got to avoid all those oils, which means you can't eat any chips. You can't eat anything fried. You can't eat fried chicken. All this stuff that you have to avoid now. And it's really hard to find anything that you can eat. So I did find one fried thing that I can eat. Trader Joe's has some plantain chips. And they're the sweet plantain chips. I think they're called sweet plantain chips. And they're fried in palm olein. It has no omega-6, no omega-3. It's a saturated fat. So things that are fried in palm oil or coconut oil are actually okay. The things that you have to avoid are the things that say vegetable oil. If they say vegetable, can't have any of those. Nut oil, seed oils, nope, can't have any of those. But even like there are some high omega-3 oils like flaxseed oil and chia seed oil. They're great for omega-3s, but they still oxidize. You can't fry anything in them. You can't heat them. They're not good if they're heated. And if you ever get those oils, they have to be cold pressed and kept in a refrigerator because they do oxidize and create trans fats. And that means they go rancid. So you have to avoid all of those kinds of oils. When you eat flax, for example, flaxseed oil, then you take the flax seeds and you eat them. A lot of people put them in a little coffee grinder. They just dump a couple tablespoons of flax seeds in a coffee grinder and then put them on their oatmeal or whatever. And that's okay as long as you do it right away. You're not going to make a whole bunch of it and store it, because as you store it, they oxidize over time. So that's a big one for keeping your diet healthy. Heart healthy diet means no nut oils, seed oils, canola oil, corn oil, soy oil, all that's got to go. Olive oil's okay. Avocado oil is about the same as olive oil. They're high in omega-9 and relatively low in polyunsaturated fats. And then, of course, you want to get some omega-3 oils to balance that. So you want to eat fish. And cold water fish is the best. Salmon is great. Cod, mackerel, sardines. I have a patient that does a sardine fast. That means all she eats is sardines for a week, nothing else. I'm like, okay. She drinks water and eats sardines. And you know what? It works. It's kind of like, I guess, kind of like a carnivore kind of diet, I guess.
Yeah.
And it works. So that's the biggest recommendation I would recommend. And the only other thing that I would recommend is stop all sugar. Nothing with sugar in it. If it has sugar in it, even ketchup, nothing. If it has sugar in it, don't even eat it.
What if you don't like fish? How about maybe an omega supplement?
Yeah, omega supplements are great, and fish oil is better. Oh, here's the thing. Someone brought in, oh yeah, I'm taking this great essential fatty acid supplement. And I looked at it, and it's all omega-6 oils with a little bit of omega-3. I'm like, dude, that is not a good supplement. That's omega-6 oils is what's going to cause heart disease. So you have to get off the omega-6 and take in omega-3. So when you get a essential fatty acid supplement, make sure it's omega-3. And ideally only omega-3.
Okay, and I posted bartonnutrition.com. You can go to that and see our omega-3. Really good product. Check that out.
Really
Use code webinar 25. You'll save 25% on that as well. Okay. Someone asked, what about palm oil?
Yeah. I talked about that. That's a saturated fat, and that's okay. So coconut oil, palm oil, those are actually good.
All right. Let me see. We have other questions here too. Okay. Are there any? Okay. Lots of questions about type 2. I'm just going to quick ask. And fasting. Anything else about this specifically? Okay, Anonymous said, I enjoy Gouda cheese imported by Costco from Holland. And I know exactly which one you're talking about, Anonymous. Is it okay for the heart to eat it in moderation?
Thank you, Anonymous. Gouda is a soft cheese. It's higher in fat, but this kind of fat is not an oxidized kind of fat. So if you look at milk fat, butter fat, cheese fat, those are okay fats. They're not high in omega-6 as a rule. And they're more in the saturated fat with some omega-9 fats too. So yes, Gouda is okay. And it's a good source of protein too.
All right. How about Alexander said, what are some good options for fair-skinned people to protect themselves from sun exposure? Little off the topic, but I love it. Good question.
Okay. This is a great topic. We should I think I'm going to do a Home Cures That Work article on this because it deserves some research.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the idea. If you're really fair-skinned and you want to protect yourself from the sun, you eat a lot of carotenoids, astaxanthins, zeaxanthins. You want to get as much antioxidants as you can in your diet. Why? Because those antioxidants, fat-soluble antioxidants, end up in your skin. And there is a company that sells a product it's a supplement, and it has beta carotene in it. And then they have a measurement where you can put your hand in and they can measure how much beta carotene is in your skin. And they can tell if you're taking the supplement or not. You're not taking it. I can tell because your beta carotene level dropped down. The more carotenoids you get, the more of those antioxidants, fat-soluble antioxidants, including vitamin E and vitamin A, by the way, the more they get into your skin and the more they protect your skin. So they protect you from the inside. So a lot of people talk about, my skin is really sensitive. Well, if you're super sensitive, then you need a lot of these antioxidants. We had a patient who was a pharmacist, actually, and he had a lot of skin problems. And we put him on a diet he was drinking a smoothie, and his smoothie had, it was spinach, kale, blueberries, blackberries, boysenberries. So it had berries in it. And then what else was he putting in there? Vitamin E, nuts. Yeah, it's a nut butter, almond, getting vitamin E. And he said he was drinking that every day. And we were measuring his carotenoid level, and it went up it was like 15 when he started, and it went up to like over 50 level. And he said the thing that happened that he noticed the most is he's not getting sunburns anymore, and his skin cleared up. He was having a lot of skin issues, spots that were showing up, and actinic keratoses and all. And he said it cleared up. And it does. You get it from the inside and you protect your skin. So then your question is, what about from the outside? Well, if you're going to be out in the sun for a while, for heaven's sakes, use the sunscreen. It's just the reasonable thing to do.
And there are some cleaner options out there now, which is really nice, that don't have a lot of the things that we now know aren't good for you in them.
You don't have to spread zinc oxide all over. Everybody's going,
I remember when I was younger, it was really cool to have colored zinc that you'd put like this underneath your eyes, and it was so cool. I thought it was cool. All right. Next question. Actually, I'm going to start at the top. Some of these will be type 2 diabetes related. John said, how often should I get my A1C checked? Also, are these A1C home kits from Amazon reliable?
I don't know how reliable they are. I haven't seen any research. I've seen them and I thought, oh, what a great idea. But you know what? I didn't look at the research to say what the standard is for this, because if they're within 20%, most labs are within 10%, but if they're within 20%, then you think, okay, if you're 5.4 and it says 5.6, okay, not a big deal. It's not going to tell you you're diabetic when you're non-diabetic, I guess. What was the first part of the question?
How often should I get my A1C checked?
Yeah, how often? Okay. So don't do it less than every 3 months, but it's reasonable to do it every 3 months. Your red blood cells change out roughly about every 3 months. So you have all new red blood cells. And what's being measured here is the amount of sugar that's attached to the hemoglobin in the red blood cells. So you change out the red blood cells from this 3 months to the next 3 months, and you have the average over that 3 months. And so doing it less than every 3 months could show you improvements or changes, but it's kind of superfluous. You might as well just do it every 3 months to 6 months.
David said, what's the relationship between insulin resistance and hypertension, please?
Okay. Insulin resistance means that you can't get glucose through membranes, because insulin is required to reach through the membrane, grab the glucose, and pull it in. So without insulin, or that when you're resistant to insulin and those receptors aren't working, then the glucose comes in and just can't get across the membrane. So what happens is in the brain, especially, there are certain areas of the brain that are not getting enough glucose because it can't get in. Other cells in your body can use fat for energy, and they're like going, oh, well, just use fat. But your brain can't do that. So the brain starts saying, hey, I'm starving here. I need some energy. So the brain shoots the blood pressure up to get more blood flow, because that's the way the brain always thinks. I don't know, brains are dumb. They think that they're going to, if they increase the blood flow, they're going to get more energy, when that's not the problem at all. The problem is insulin resistance. So they're not dealing with the problem. So it's your brain that's raising the blood pressure because it's not getting enough energy.
Okay. Anonymous says, why when you eat something sugary, does it make your blood sugar spike and then come down in a couple hours? But if I eat bread, chips, crackers, or popcorn, it spikes it and it takes 8 to 12 hours to return to my baseline number where I was before I ate that.
Oh, that's really interesting. So I suspect one of the reasons would be that the sugar is rapidly absorbed and then it goes away quickly. And the other thing is that sugary things, sweet things, whether it's high fructose corn syrup or sugar or corn sweetener or coconut sugar or agave nectar, doesn't matter. All those like sweet things, they're half fructose and half glucose. So you're getting this quick spike in glucose, and then you have fructose, which is really not a sugar. It's not used in the body like glucose at all. So it's not burned like sugar. It's burned more like a fat. So and then it goes into the liver, and you can't burn fat for energy, and it doesn't raise the blood. The glucose doesn't go up, so the insulin doesn't go up, and so everything drops down and comes down normal quickly. Whereas when you're eating bread or chips or things that are starchy, the starch is pure glucose, and so it's going to keep the glucose. As you're absorbing all of this, you're gonna have high glucose for a much longer period of time, and it doesn't spike the glucose rapidly like the sugar does, so you don't make as much insulin. So you have a relatively lower insulin response with a more constant sugar release.
Okay. Jan says, are there any natural methods to replace metoprolol?
Metoprolol is a beta blocker, and what that does is slows down the heart. There are herbs that you can use that tend to slow down the heart. There are some other older medications that aren't used anymore that do slow down the heart. But the question is that what you want to do? Is that what's needed? Because if the heart is beating fast because it has the low ejection fraction, ejection fraction is how much of the blood is pushed out each time. And an average heart should push out about 60% of the blood every time. And if it's only pushing out 25% of the blood, then it's got to go faster to get the same amount of blood flow. And so if you slow it down, then you're just going to get less blood flow, and that's the wrong thing to do. So sometimes just treating the rapid heart rate with metoprolol is not the right thing to do, because it actually causes more damage to the heart and increases your risk of heart failure. So I wouldn't say let's replace the beta blocker. I would say let's look at why the heart is dysfunctional and why the beta blocker would be used in the first place, and then fix the reason it's happening.
Okay. Sandy says, how do I wean off metformin, glipizide, and have been on them for 15 plus years?
Wow. Okay. The question of how is super easy. Glipizide only works immediately. It causes a release of insulin. It makes you release insulin more. It makes you more insulin resistant. It's really not a good long-term medication, and you're off it every day. If you miss one day, it's gone. You got nothing there. Whether you're on it or you're off it, that's really an easy thing because there's no need to wean at all. Metformin, in a very similar way, works very differently because it blocks the ability to use sugar for energy, kind of forcing the body into, or the mitochondria into burning fat and using alternative methods like ketones. Metformin is another thing that doesn't require any weaning at all. So talk to your doctor about that and say, okay, I'm gonna stop, and just that's all it takes.
Yeah. Okay, Stella said, if doing a fast, should I consider using blood thinners and clear lax?
Clear liquids.
Oh, okay.
Clear what?
I don't know. LAX. So I didn't know if that meant.
I wonder if that was Miralax.
Or
That's what I
laxatives.
wondered, if it was something like that, or
Laxatives.
could be.
Blood thinners.
Well, here, when doing a fast, should you take medications and supplements?
Okay. When you're fasting, you have to be very careful with what medications you're taking. So things like blood pressure medications will drop your blood pressure too low, and the medications for diabetes, for blood sugar, will drop your blood sugar too low, so you'll get hypoglycemia and hypotension. You can get blood thinners are another issue. You may, if you've had like a stent or something, you probably need to stay on blood thinners, and you can totally stay on blood thinners while you're fasting. That's not a problem at all. You don't have to take them with food, and you don't, and they're not going to affect your fast, and your fast won't affect them either because of the way they work. They work on the factors, the clotting factors that are blocked. They block clotting factors so that you don't make clots easily.
Okay, Richard says, please explain 610.
Okay, 610. Don't eat anything after 6 o'clock and go to sleep by 10 o'clock p.m. It is such a good thing for you. I can't even tell you how good it is to sleep every night before 10 o'clock with an empty stomach, because number one, you'll sleep better. Number two, you'll repair your body. You go into anabolic mode. Number three, you're not going to get diabetes or heart disease. All of the degenerative problems that we talk about with aging just don't happen. It is really important for your circadian rhythm to maintain a rhythm of diet and sleep. And so, and the simplest way to handle that is to not eat after 6 and go to sleep by 10.
Right. Juliana says, is NatureCraft Live Support Cleanse good for clearing your liver, or what is a good liver cleanse?
Okay, let's talk about the liver then. What does the liver do? The liver has to process everything. It's like the metabolic center. It's the financial district of your body. Financial meaning that's where all of the energy and all of the what we would call the economy of your body is all maintained in the liver. It all comes from the liver. The liver is processing all this stuff constantly. Every time you eat something, everything you absorb has to go through your liver before it can get to your body. So it's not something that's minor. And then so what is a detox then? Well, the detox, that's the other thing the liver has to do. It has to detox everything. So as you're eating stuff, then the stuff that you're eating gets absorbed, and that has to all be detoxed, right? And then while you're doing all of your stuff that you do, your metabolism, there's a lot of toxins you're producing. And those toxins have to go through the liver and be processed and detoxified and excreted and get out of the body. So the liver is just working really hard all the time. So how do you detox the liver? There is a way. Here's how you do it. you don't eat anything. Because when your stomach is empty, then there's nothing going through the liver that it's having to detox. And your liver is resting at that point, is able to rebuild, repair, build up the glycogen levels, detox the stuff that's coming through your own body. And so autophagy happens. And during autophagy, the liver is making ketones. It's making glucose for you. It's processing all of the old proteins, all of the junk that's accumulated in your body. You know, like if you live in a house for 5 years and you never clean it, what's it going to look like? You have to like take it and clean it all out. Well, when you're not eating, that's when you're cleaning out not just your liver, but your whole body, and the liver gets cleaned out too.
Interesting. All right. I think we're going to have to do a home cures topic on that too. We'll have to, maybe that'll be one of our webinars. It's just talking about the liver. Okay. Let's see. Lori says, how do you keep LDL within normal range? What foods should I avoid? We talked about that a little bit.
Okay. So LDL, what you should avoid is anything that has omega-6 oils in it. So any nut oils, seed oils, canola oil, corn oil, soy oil, all of the vegetable oils. If it says vegetable oil, avoid it. That's how you keep your LDL good, is to avoid anything that has any kind of omega-6 oils in it.
Right. Robert says, do statins reduce plaque buildup in your arteries? And is it okay to stay on a statin long term?
Okay. The answer is no and no. Any other questions?
Hey, this is kind of off topic, but I just thought of this. I've been seeing a lot of Instagram reels about the happiest people are the ones that have a little bit of lithium in their water or something, like finding lithium.
Copper.
What?
I heard about copper. Copper is supposed to make you happy.
Yeah. Well, copper's important. Lithium. There's actually some lithium supplements. I put people on lithium supplements, and people like their brains not working. Lithium seems to help.
I don't know why they were talking about it in the water. I think someone recommended they should put it in the water, maybe. I don't know what it was.
Oh, maybe in the water, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question about statins is it's a good question, and it deserves more than just a no.
Well, and also that's what made me think of it, is at one point there were doctors saying that it should be in the water, correct?
Oh yeah, that statins should be in the water.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's really good advertising by drug companies, because actually statins do not reduce plaques in arteries. And they do not reduce heart disease, and they do not, and they're not good long term because of the other problems that they cause, like Alzheimer's disease. That's why. So I didn't want to just say no. Yeah, there's really good reasons for that.
Okay. Ryan says, I just completed a 60-hour water fast. I did it to help reset my health. I felt good. I heard a dry fast may merit even better results. What's your opinion on dry versus water, long fasts in general?
Okay. So let me just go through this then. It takes about 2 days, 40 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours, depending on the research. It's really hard to know, but it's somewhere around 2 days of fasting before you use up all your glycogen, all the sugar in your body, all the stored glucose is stored in your liver and in your muscle cell. All your cells are storing this sugar, glucose, and it gets used up pretty quickly. So within 2 days. So if you're only fasting for 12 hours, you're not using it up. 24 hours, you're probably not using it up. 2 days, you're probably using it up. And at that point, when you've used it all up, you start a process called autophagy. Autophagy is where you take out your immune cells. Your total immune system starts working really hard to eat yourself. That's what autophagy means. Auto means self. Phagy means eating. You're eating yourself. And what does that mean? Well, all the dead cells, all the tau proteins, all the amyloid plaques, those are proteins that just build up in your body. It takes it all out, all the fat that's stored in your body, and it's stored everywhere. You think of the fat that's stored under your skin, but there's a whole lot of fat around your liver and kidneys and your omentum, all the visceral fat, and there's fat all over in your muscles. And all of that is getting used up as you're doing this autophagy. You're eating yourself. And so for long term, the longer you go, the better, in a sense, until you reach the point of being. I think the best time to stop fasting is when you reach your ideal body weight. If you come to your ideal body weight, then that's about the time to say, okay, I'm done. That would be a good, safe time to quit. Because then at that point, you've pretty much taken out everything that's cancer cells, dead cells, all that stuff. All that gets taken out. So now let's talk about the dry fast versus the water fast. Now, when you're drinking water, you're not fasting. If you drink water, you've put something in your stomach is full. You stop making ghrelin, so your fasting ends at that point. But the water clears out pretty quickly, and you go right back into fasting pretty fast. So a water fast is perfectly okay, and most people do really well with it. But the answer to your question is yes. People who don't eat or drink anything, people who put nothing in their stomach during whatever period of time they're fasting, actually do better. Their autophagy is better. Their cleanse is better. Their detox is better. Their anabolic metabolism is better. Rebuilding, repairing, all of that improves with a dry fast. So yes, dry fasting is better, but you got to be careful because you can easily get dehydrated, and you have to train yourself over time to be able to do this. Because why? Your body learns how to store things and to use things more efficiently as you practice fasting. So it's not something you just go and do. Oh, I heard a dry fast was good. I'm going to go 2 weeks with no food or water or any drink. Well, that wouldn't be very good because your kidneys don't have the ability to concentrate urine. You're going to lose a lot of water. You're going to be dehydrated really quickly because you can't concentrate the urine because you haven't ever fasted before. So working into it is a very good idea of, I'll just start with a 12-hour fast. Yeah, that's easy. And then I'll go to 14 hours and I'll go to 20 hours. And then I'll just eat one meal a day for a few times and see how that goes. And then I'll do 2 days. And then I'll do 3 days. And in between those times, you could have like a week or a month or whatever of eating. It's not like you have to go right into a more fasting. Just allowing your body to learn how to fast, to be able to switch to fat burning metabolism easily, to make ketones so your brain works well. To all of these things, when you're eating sugar all the time, they're dead. They're not working at all. You don't have any ability to burn fat. You don't have any ability to make ketones. You can't concentrate urine. So doing a dry fast just right off without any practice, not a good idea.
Sib says, why are there so many articles stating that sugar does not cause diabetes?
Because people sell sugar, for heaven's sakes. Who pays for articles? These articles are paid for by companies that make sugar. And this has been going on since the 1970s. In fact, what I just told you today about our heart health, about the cholesterol versus the saturated fat, it was known, the research was done in the 1960s. The research was done. So we're talking 80 years ago, this research was done, and everybody who was doing the research knew that omega-6 oils caused heart disease and saturated fat did not cause heart disease. But the companies that were selling the omega-6 oil said, we can't put that on the market and we can't let that get out. So they advertised, avoid saturated fat, avoid saturated fat, avoid saturated fat. So walk into your doctor today and ask, should I avoid saturated fat? And the doctor will tell you, oh, absolutely, you should avoid saturated fat. And then you'll know that your doctor is about 60 years behind the times. The research is anyway. So doctors don't know, because all of our information for the doctor comes from the same companies that are selling the food and making the drugs.
Okay. Speaking of doctors, what do you look for when searching for a natural doctor?
Someone who's looking for the cause. Like there are a lot of functional medicine doctors that are really awesome, and they really search hard and they look for the cause, and they're testing and looking for, okay, why do you have that? Why do you have that? Why do you have that? And searching down. If you walk in and you say, I have diabetes, and they say, well, we'll take you off the metformin and put you on cinnamon, and we'll take you off of this and put you on that, and we'll take you off your blood pressure medication, and you go home with an armful of supplements, you're in the wrong place. That's not the way to do it. I worked with several naturopathic doctors, and that's what they did. Is that they just replaced all the drugs with something else, and so the people were still paying. I mean, think about it. At least the drugs got paid for by their insurance. They had to pay out of pocket for all their supplements, and it was like $300 a month they were paying, some of them. And then they'd come back to me and say, is there any way I could get off of these? And I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so someone else had said, do you offer consultations?
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, I bill insurance and I'm licensed. And so by licensing, they changed all the rules. That used to be that, if I was in California, I had to have a license in California, practice in California. Now I can be anywhere in the world as long as my patient's in California. So if you're in California, or I have a license in Utah. So if you're in California and Utah, then I can do consultations.
Interesting. Okay. I'll post maybe your office's number if they want to get in touch with you. Okay. All right. Is stevia with monk fruit okay?
No. Stevia is sweet, and it causes a release of insulin. And not everybody, actually, some people tolerate it really well and don't have insulin release from it. But for people that have insulin resistance, it's not a good idea. And for people who have insulin resistance, monk fruit is not a good idea. Again, it's an artificial sweetener. It doesn't have any calories. It's a sugar alcohol, but still, it's an issue. It's gonna, if it raises your insulin level and causes insulin resistance, that's really where the problem is. It's insulin. It's not sugar. Your problem is not sugar. It's insulin. So if the artificial sweeteners are raising insulin, then that's the problem. You're creating more problems.
And we talk a lot about this with honey, maple syrup, all of those as well. They can have the same effect.
Same thing.
Okay.
Done.
Lavia says, do you believe in metformin? I'm allergic, but my daughter-in-law was just diagnosed and put on it.
Yeah, well, metformin is okay, and it does lower the blood sugar a little bit, and it does help you burn fat a little bit, but there was a study recently done on comparing metformin, comparing people who exercise with metformin versus without metformin, and you lose the benefits of the metabolic benefits of exercise, like being able, by lowering insulin resistance, for example, when you exercise, because metformin prevents your muscles from using the glucose. And so it blocks that. And, there was another type of metformin, that fenformin, and that was so toxic. People were getting muscle wasting and liver problems from it. So it's I still wouldn't recommend it. I think the best way to do it is get the diabetes solution kit, start on phase one, and do it, and measure your ketone levels, and pee on the strips, and get it purple, get it dark purple, and you'll be amazed at how good you feel, how much energy you have, instead of just blocking all of your energy with all these drugs.
All right. A couple more questions here. Kimberly said, what's best to monitor blood sugar? Fasting in the morning, or take it throughout the day before bed and check it in the morning only? Is that the best way to watch it?
Well, gosh, if you're doing the finger sticks and you have a limited number of supply of test strips, then just doing the one a day in the morning before you eat, because that gives you an idea of how much insulin resistance you might have. Because if you're between 70 and 90 consistently, you don't have insulin resistance. But if you're consistently over 100, then you got insulin resistance. So on a fasting level. So I think that would be a better way to go.
All right. Stella did mean laxatives like Miralax during fasting.
Yeah, laxatives are okay, but if you're fasting, yeah, don't use laxatives. Don't take anything.
Okay. How does daylight savings affect 610?
Oh, you just go with it and just go on the next, because it takes a day for every hour you change, and so just go with the new time.
Elliot has said if I were to go to sleep at 10 p.m., my natural rhythm would most likely wake me up at 5.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah. Sarah said, can being overweight cause tachycardia?
Um, Not by itself. There's another reason for tachycardia, and it means the heart isn't working, and being overweight by itself doesn't do it. There's another reason. There's something else going on.
Okay. Uh, Doretta says, my doctor started me on diltiazem HCl in 1990s for high blood pressure. I'm still taking it. Is this an issue? I don't believe I have cardiac issues.
Yeah, well, diltiazem's fine. It's a blood pressure medication, but it would be better to know why you had high blood pressure. And even if it's been that long, even if you have high blood pressure, because usually the medications wear off after a short period of time, and you're not doing anything with the blood pressure medication at all after a little while.
Here's a really good question. Can I get rid of hot flashes by fasting? Any suggestions?
Oh, you know what? That's something I have never treated with fasting, is hot flashes.
Yeah.
I always assume it's a hormone thing, and I just either prescribe hormones or find a way to balance the hormones. Um, so, but fasting can balance your hormones, so it's possible, and it's not a bad thing to try, because it's going to fix everything else, even if it doesn't fix that.
Very interesting. Okay. All right. It is time, Dr. Saunders. Go bless your patients. We're thankful that you were here today, and we'll see you next week.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Bye, Cheryl. All of you,
Bye,
come
Leslie.
back.
See you
And
next week.
yes, go to bartonwebinar.com in the meantime, and don't forget to use the code webinar25. We'll see you.